still tuned in to News and Views. Myself, Salailo Makwidiri, and we turn our attention to a developing international story that is involving detained humanitarian activists linked to the global Sumud Flotilla. I'm not sure even detained is the right word to use. Kidnapped, abducted. An Israeli magistrate court in Ashkelon has extended the detention of Brazilian activist Thiago Ávila and his compatriot, his fellow activist, Saif Keshek by a further 6 days, despite no formal charges being laid. I think that's something that's very, very common even here in South Africa. We've seen it a few times. Legal representatives from Adalah say the pair were taken in international waters and are being held under what they describe as unlawful conditions, including isolation and ongoing interrogation. And in a further tragic development, we've heard news and learned that Thiago Avila's mother has unfortunately passed away while he remains in detention. This is deja vu, especially if you're a South African, man. The screams of what used to happen during the dark days of apartheid. Similar, cut and paste. And we're going to be joined now by human rights activist and global Sumud Flotilla activist, Sumeyra Akdeniz Ordu. I hope that I said that right. And she's going to be giving us more insight on the story and the latest of what you and I need to know and what we can do to further put pressure and raise awareness on this illegal detention, this legal abduction of global Sumud Flotilla activist. Sumeyra, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to News and Views. Really appreciate you giving us your time.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us also the opportunity to speak up about our comrades and the mission.
No, the pleasure is all ours. And I want to jump right into it. From your perspective and your understanding, what is the latest at this current point? Why did the court decide to extend the detention of Thiago and Saif Keshek?
Actually, we are used to those strategies from the Zionist entity. They had no reason that it was extended, the hearing from yesterday until Sunday, but because our lawyers from Adalah are really pushing in a legal and brilliant way. We just had the news that there will be another hearing today in the next few hours. So after all these pressures through our team from Adalah, the lawyers, we are now waiting for the next hearing about our comrades, and we hope we will get better updates about them.
And one thing that's really, really concerning for me is the fact that there are no formal charges here. On what legal basis are they being held from your perspective and your understanding?
Actually, yesterday it was, even if it doesn't sound like a real serious and legal charge, but it was just to mobilizing people for, in quote, illegal activities. But when we open this definition of illegal activities, it's a nonviolence activism, especially in terms of Palestine, and that both of our comrades, Saif and Thiago, are in charge of mobilizing people, and actually both of them were one of our best mobilizers in our steering committee. We are 20 people, 20 persons in our steering committee from different countries, and Thiago and Saif were really, really working hard with us. And because the Zionist entity knows that we are a team and as deciding in a collective way, they wanted to block us by taking and kidnapping our comrades. But anyway, whatever happens, even if it's really, really hard, this shouldn't and wouldn't be a reason to stop or to not mobilize each other. But of course, we are still in hope and asking and waiting for better updates so we can be together and fight for justice again.
Another aspect, because you mentioned that this is all crazy and this has been the modus operandi of this Israeli regime for a very, very long time. Another, I think, aspect that was really confusing for me is the fact that the court reportedly relied on secret evidence that was not shared with the defense. How concerning is that from a human rights point of view?
Actually, if someone who has experience is listening to those arguments, knows very well that this is also another kind of strategy of the Zionist entity to not give specific information, but to give this kind of feeling of suspicion to public. And we know that our comrades are innocent and that their only in quote guilt is to fight for justice and for Palestine in these terms. So in this case, we know that every time the more bigger is a movement for justice becoming, the bigger challenge we face, and that's the evidence.
Mm, mm, mm. Let's talk about the conditions that both Thiago and Saif are under. We are hearing reports of isolation, constant lighting and blindfolding. What more do we know about the conditions they're being held under at this current point?
So I can say that from the beginning on, when they were kidnapped and intercepted by the IOF, my husband was with them side by side. So 180 persons were around 180 persons were kidnapped by the IOF into this prison ship called Navash. I cannot spell the name, but anyway, and our comrades Saif and Thiago were tortured in front of their eyes, in front of the eyes of my husband Shuaib Ordu. And he just told me a few days ago when we received them in Istanbul, because we received 59 participants from Greece to Istanbul to welcome them. The rest is still mobilizing there in Greece. That, in total and common, we can see that they were being tortured in a really bad way. So in this mission, we could see that the violence has increased a lot. Shuaib was telling that he could hear the screaming of Saif, or that they were taken on the ground like animals, even not like animals, even worse. So when they took Saif and Thiago, our other comrades didn't even realize that they were taken to Ashdod, because they were doing this in a silent way, just by telling them, "Hey, come, we have some questions for you," and then they disappeared. And the atmosphere of this prison ship, which will be seen in the next few days, because we are preparing some images, even if it's just by their remembrance. We are trying to show the people in the world in which kind of ways the IOF is actually trying to block this humanitarian mission. And this shows us actually that they are really afraid. Even the preparations of this boat, the technical preparations of this prison boat, were really new. My husband was one of the boat technicians on this boat, and he recognized that the preparations, the repairs were just freshly done. So this ship was just prepared to block the flotilla 660 miles far away from Gaza, to not let us to collect each other. Actually, they knew, I suppose, that our plan was to meet in international waters with also the Greek and Turkish fleet. So now we are in a position where we maybe lost around 22 boats, yes, but we still have other boats which are actually preparing to meet us. I am right now in Turkey preparing the fleet here, and we are still moving on. And I was even with Thiago's wife yesterday evening on the phone call, and she said that even Thiago and Saif would say that we shouldn't stop this mission. So we still have to keep going on. We are in solidarity and trying to push the governments about their release in terms of Thiago and Saif, and our heart is with them. But we know these kind of Zionist strategies, so we are not in this game anyway.
And we've also heard the unfortunate news that Thiago's mom has unfortunately lost her life. Is he aware of this, and how has he reacted to it, if he is?
Actually, I don't think that he knows about it. Today is the hearing, and when I was talking to his wife yesterday, she was thinking how she can tell him about this. But we will see today. I hope that the hearing will be successful, but I can imagine that this challenge, what all of our comrades are going through, is really not easy. When you are also losing, meanwhile, your mother, it's hard. And but I know that our comrades are strong. Even the people could see on the footage that they are still trying to stay strong, to smile in front of the camera, to show also the resistance. They know that this is nothing in compare with the Palestinians. We were together in prison with the previous mission when I was also on board, and I remember the written lines on the wall from Palestinian women that these days are their 220th day, for example, in prison. And we know that this is a temporarily challenge. Sometimes we have to risk some things for justice, and I hope, I'm in belief that this fight will bring us more hope.
And lastly, before I let you go, what's the status of the mission right now, Sumeyra? Is everything on course? We're seeing visuals of some of the boats, from social media, still making their way to try and break, that. Blockade, that illegal blockade that the Global Sumud Flotilla is working hard to break and to raise awareness. Is everything still in place? Is the mission still as it was intended in the beginning?
Yes, of course. We are preparing in Turkey right now, the last leg, and our team was actually waiting to pass the weather, because we are always depending on the weather, close to the place where our comrades were interested, because they were waiting for passing the storm. And right now we will meet in the next few days with the other fleet, inshallah. So we are keeping going. We are keep going on.
No, most definitely. Sumeyra, we're going to leave it here for now. Thank you so much for chatting to us, and hope we chat again soon. Really appreciate the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you very much. See you soon, inshallah.
There you go. Global Sumud Flotilla human rights activist Sumeyra Ordu, giving us, I think, very, very important insights on the latest regarding, the abducted, the kidnapped Thiago, Ávila, and Saif, who are currently in detention. And there's going to be another court appearance later on today, and we're going to try as much as we can to give you the latest on that front. And you can continue to follow us on our various social media pages to get the latest on the Global Sumud Flotilla, and we'll continue to track the story as much and as far as we can. And I think the most devastating news, obviously, being the fact that Thiago has unfortunately lost his mother. And this just took me back to the dark days of apartheid and the stories that we would hear of people losing children, their mothers would pass away while they're incarcerated without any charges, and they would stay for years and months and months and months, while people on the outside that they've left behind were dying, unfortunately. And that's the price that South Africans have to pay, or had to pay, for the freedom that we're witnessing right now. And that's a similar kind of price that activists for Palestine and Palestinians themselves continue to pay years and years later, and the world continues to do nothing about it. So yeah, we'll continue to follow the story and to give you the latest wherever and whenever we can. Otherwise, come to the end of today's edition of News and Views. I'll be back with you again tomorrow. Bye for now. Shap shap.